ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Hey Safeguard, TheScoreEsports.com, Mountain Dew, and ESEA.
A very good evening to all of you CS fans. One game down, another to go. And in the best of two for us here at the ESL Pro League on our debut day. Man, oh man. It's sunny outside and it's actually still warm. It is dark, however, and we are in a dark studio to talk about some games.
Perfect day to stay inside and talk about video games.
He's got his summer outfit on. Yanko's looking radiant in his summer outfit. I'm joined by a very radiant Mitch in his fabulous shirt.
Hello.
Yeah, I like this shirt a lot.
As I said, you can't see the wrinkles, so it works out perfectly.
What wrinkles? I'm just a white blur. They have no idea.
That's a good idea. Try the white shirt next time.
You should. The white shirt crew. Anyway, moving into the Counter-Strike, we have got NiP VP. And it would be rude, Mitch, while I'd have you joined me on that cast to talk about VP and their route into the Pro League, because it only happened 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, we jumped in on towards that game as well. We saw a Godsend try to play really aggressive against them as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a gambit, right, with obviously 3 of those Fnatic players coming in, or ex-Fnatic players, trying to secure themselves a spot there. But Pronax, for example, not playing like the Pronax of old. Remember, I heard the
top
quote.
of the scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, it used to be said, if Pronax is at the top of the scoreboard, something's wrong. But he showed some aggression as well. He was often flanking and lurking, but Virtus.Pro were able to stave them off here as well. And Taz said, man, it's all about sticking together. We work through our issues, and we don't believe in chopping and changing just because things aren't working out.
Yeah, and then, of course, going up against them will be none other than the Ninjas in Pajamas. Man, one of the teams we mentioned when we were talking about that coaching change, this is going to be, their world's going to be turned upside down in the offline environment. But NiP, what have we seen from them as of late? Did they disappear off on holiday like everyone else?
Yeah, I think that was the case for them as well. Super disappointed with their group stage exit at the major, and I would like to think that at least some of the players or Threat and maybe someone from the team started, thinking about how they could not reinvent themselves, but widen their game, because what they initially started doing, it worked great for them, but teams started figuring them out. So now they just need to build on that.
I mean, losing Cash, the map that they sort of revolutionized, 16-2 against Flipside, to exit the major is not what you want, especially not at that point after a close game against Na'Vi. So NiP have got to work on this one. Disco Doplin.
You stole my point.
I just said his name.
Okay, here's my point. Disco Doplin.
Great name.
What a name.
Yeah. What a name.
Oh, God.
And actually, he has been one of the most exciting players coming up from Sweden, an up-and-comer, no doubt, of course, performing under Epsilon. He is just on loan from the Epsilon boys due to a hand injury from Pit. We've seen him basically he took 14 days off, then tried to play. What's wrong?
I think he just,
hand
after
injury.
2 weeks of vacation, he gets a wrist injury, Alex.
Okay, he was just really enjoying the time off, playing Overwatch, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. That dude's climbing in that game as well. But yeah, so due to hand injury for gaming purposes and gaming reasons, Yanko, don't let that soil your mind. But yeah, we are going to be seeing, of course, Disco Doplin stand in. I don't know how much of a hit this is actually going to be in terms of NiP and their performance here.
I'm not sure either.
No.
I think that in a sense that because with Threat they have the system going on, and whether Disco Doplin will be available to adapt to it real quick. But NiP also has a lot of talent on their team. They can also maybe rely on a more loose place, and it will also be a good thing for them to maybe try and practice it. Of course, you don't ideally want to practice it in official games with a stand-in, but maybe just try it out, see how it looks like, relying more on your individual players than on strategy.
Now, an interesting point you raised just before we did come into the studio, Mitch, we were mentioning that this map coming up next could be a very interesting affair due to, I know, an interview that triggered absolutely everyone on the desk, Yanko included, when you spoke to Cuban.
Okay, well, if you're VP and you're going to pick Nuke here, you best be hoping that you've improved it since the major. They picked that against SK.
Or just started playing it.
Or that as well, yeah. Well, that was, when I spoke to Cuban, because I managed to sort of grab him by the coattails as they were walking out for a break in between the maps. He's like, yeah, well, we thought we'd be okay with it, but obviously we weren't ready for SK. So there was a reason that they picked it. They had a sense of confidence about it. They got trashed. And when I spoke to Zeus, he's like, not really sure why they picked that map at all, because we just didn't feel like we were tested at all there as well. So let's hope there's been some work done in the think tank in the interim.
Interestingly enough, the last 4 times these guys have met, VP have prevailed. They have beaten them consistently in the last, what has been, 4 months? So NiP, I can't help but feel, as a layman or whatever I am, that you'd read this and suggest NiP could really bring the pain to VP. Why is it that VP have found so much success as of late versus the Swedes? I mean, are NiP falling from grace somewhat here?
Not necessarily. So I feel that more than anything else, VP are confident playing against that type of a play style, you know, more of a slow play style, tactical. I think that problems arise for VP when teams play that no respect Counter-Strike against them and just out-aim them, because I think that VP is a extremely skilled team tactically as well, not in a sense that they have a lot of set strategies, but mind gaming their opponents and being a step ahead. If teams just start with that no respect playstyle, then you don't really have a chance to mind game them. First, you have to, you know, put them in their place, stop them with that playstyle, and that has been the problem for VP at the beginning of this year, I feel like, right? They weren't on point individually most of the time, so they couldn't get to that mind game level. They were just being crushed.
But I mean, historically, didn't they struggle versus the Fnatic roster? Like, that used to be really difficult for them because of that no-respect style of play. They just 2-0'd Godsent, which was, I mean, the majority of the ex-Fnatic.
Yes, but I mean, it's under, you know...
different kind of circumstances.
Really different circumstances.
Sure,
just forming the new lineup, players not playing as much. It's the same for VP, but players coming back from holidays as well. I think that we are yet to see the real rivalry between this Godsent lineup and VP. But that's a good point in a sense that NiP has the opposite playstyle what the Fnatic Godsent lineup has, and I think that's probably the main reason why they have such a good record against them.
Did you catch the wildcard match at all?
A bit, yeah.
Did you feel like VP were putting up a good performance, or was that just a floppy Godsent?
I feel that it was a sloppy game.
Floppy? I don't know where that came from.
I feel that it was a sloppy game because I remember a couple of rounds on Cobble, VP winning the round with pistols and no armor.
Yes.
You can see
Multiple
that
times.
you know, you can see that there were issues for the Godsent players, you know, not checking all the corners. That stems from you're probably thinking your teammate is going to check it, so you don't, but then he doesn't either, and you both get surprised by one player. It was really, really sketchy, and I felt that VP were the favorites in that game, even though it was online.
Yeah,
So
and it would be, I mean, it would be almost silly not to mention the kind of the Swedish shuffle in regards to NiP. I think a lot of people would have been sitting there thinking, okay, if Fnatic's going to be messing around, if Godsent are going to be fiddling, NiP would be kind of jumping in there as well. Were you expecting to see NiP turn up in the roster mania?
I have, because I heard rumors about it. I don't think that...
Whispers.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if they need a change at this point. I feel at this point they need to broaden their game, right? As I said, they need to... Right now they're a bit too predictable, so I would first focus on that. If that still doesn't, you know, bring results, then you can start thinking about roster changes, because I don't think that they've, you know, run out of options at this point, that the roster change is what they need.
Okay, so waiting to see more then from what NiP can do with these current building blocks. Let's not forget Disco Doppelin is playing as well. Like, it's not necessarily the most idyllic start. However, we do have to raise, Mitch, this very, very common point that's raised is VP and online, and also VP in the past Pro League. I mean, you got to cast some of those games last season. You saw what VP were capable of last season.
Yeah, I mean, the game against Penta was that last nail in the coffin for them. I mean, I think it was Cobble, which was the most deplorable performance I've seen from them in quite some time. The last time these two teams have played, in fact, the last 4 times they played all the 4 maps, I believe they were all offline. It was at ECS and then it was at E-League Finals, right?
I have it in front of me.
And VP won all of them, and all on 4 different maps here as well. So, yeah, everyone's been on holiday, everyone's been getting a tan and all that sort of thing there as well, but history favours VP a bit more. Online VP, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. I think it was promising signs against Godsent. We'll have to see here, though.
And we have to see right now, in fact. I just want a quick prediction from you, though, guys, while we do throw it to the casters. What are you thinking, Mitch? What's your brain thinking for Nuke? I know you were upset by the Nuke pick last time.
Well, I don't think we've seen NiP on new Nuke yet at all. So really, really hard to call. I think, yeah, I don't believe so anyway. So I call it a 1-1 split between the series, and I reckon NiP take Nuke, but we'll see.
And I mean, NiP of old were masters of Nuke. What are you thinking, Yenko?
Yeah, I feel that even without the 5th player, I think the core of NiP will have what it takes to take down Nuke. It was their signature map, and VP experimented with it at times, but wasn't really ever a map they were comfortable on, I feel.
All right, so to throw this one over to the casters, I have a little bit of a poem. It's NiP, VP, and it's casted by Henry G. And Sadokist is there somewhere. It doesn't quite rhyme.
Brilliant.
Well, what can you say about that one?
I mean, they gotta have... He's an employee of ESL. They gotta put him somewhere. They gotta find work for him somehow. Still not sure what role he fits well, but keep working hard.
He tries
Alex.
hard, you know.
He does try.
Well then, Matthew, bit of a Nice little headline game here.
I look so bizarre with my glasses on, even I'm used to them.
Yeah, that's true, actually. NiP versus VP, all the Ps. And this is going to be quite an interesting game. Nuke is a very crazy map for me, considering that obviously NiP coming in with a Merc as well. It's an interesting choice to go with. Maybe they want to chuck the curveball in there. They know that VP have proven to be weaker on this map in the past. We saw it against SK Gaming. And I'm not really sure what to expect. Obviously, we haven't got Pit playing for them. He's one of the big fraggers of the team. Disco.Pro, though, he's no slouch either. Very, very strong player. And we are going to get straight into this one. It is going to be the CT side for NiP here. And it looks like a Ramfrom take coming in from Virtus.Pro. They've actually got 4 sets of armor, snacked with the smoke grenade and flashbang. And they're actually holding towards lobby for now, seeing if there is any of that initial CT aggression.
Yeah, an interesting point to make as well. NiP and VP are 2 of the teams that love the old iteration of Nuke. In fact, the teams that everyone argued were the 2 teams most affected when it left the map pool. So keep that in mind. They're both familiar. They're both, although, yes, different map, familiar with the ground they're standing on. Disco Doplin's going to be on the ramp. Pretty crucial choke point. Usually, we would say on the old map. This one, we haven't really seen it been utilized as much early on in this version. But Disco's smart. He falls away. Similar to Nitro at the Major when he read the situation, fell away back into the site. And in a style that only Crims could replicate, he drags over his teammates. The rotation comes in. He buys time. He buys space. It's on Bialy to try and come back down. 1 vent only access. And Bomb dropped it lower with a man advantage for NiP.
Yeah, the Ramfrom is definitely a lot more viable in the pistol range. Obviously, they don't have the same sort of smokes and incendiaries against you, but there we go. Forest does find Bialy. 3 versus 1, just going to be snacks now. He's got 40 seconds, but that's a very effective smoke being dropped into that vents area. And he's locked out. The bombs towards ramp. Not really many options here, Matt. I'd say the best he can probably get out of this situation. Finding a couple of kills, 300 bucks per kill. So let's see if he can do anything with this. Does find the first kill and exists, though.
It is snacks. You give him a chance to lurk, and he'll find at least 1, but that's all he gets. This time, NiP, Get Right finds the kill in return. They start off well, good pistol round to pick up. Again, Disco picks up 2 kills on this. He's been a hot prospect. There's rumors, look, I know there's teams in North America that have tried to reach out to him. There's been teams in Sweden that have definitely taken note. And in another case, we're seeing a lot of Mercs, Showtime. We saw it with Venton. Now look where he is. In Venton's case, it's a chance to promote yourself.
The problem is, yeah, this is the problem with teams like Epsilon. As soon as you start doing well in the scene, it's the farming squad, right? And then you lose your best players and you're back to square one.
At the same time, though, he has not officially left Epsilon.
Of course, no, but like, it's kind of apparent, though, these options are on the table, and it's very tantalizing for a young man to think, wow, I can actually join the top team now and get that exposure.
I know for a fact he is sure of a top team, perhaps in Sweden, approached him. Might be a different story, but I know he's turned down opportunities presented to him because he wants to believe in Epsilon improving, and no reason not to. And in the span of 8 months, they've made it into the top 20 from not even being known. So cool story, but you're right. I mean, it is a scary prospect that someone could just disappear, and that could, create instability in the roster. Neo, quick flash into a smoke. He's going to push immediately through on top of it. Disco, again, the one that's going to be pressured and has to fall back in toward the bomb site. As he does so with the P90, they try and go a different route, VP. In fact, they're going to go back all the way through Turnpike, catch off, Get Right, who only trades for 1. Bomb still up. Pasha's re-grabbed that, but it's existence dead. MP9. And Bialy's gone catwalk. So they've actually gone for a split to try and get outside control and force the CTs inside of, the upper side, try and cover off these choke points, but it gives them a bit of a chance to try and rotate, at least get a plant out of this.
There's so many angles now for VP there to get on this upper bomb side. That's what they'll be choosing to go, but I'm not really sure they'll be able to find the entrance they need. NiP finding that first kill. Now they know exactly where they are, can fall back to delay them a little bit longer. Exist, he's happy to die. He's only got the SMG. Wouldn't be giving away too much. He's trying to do some damage. Pasha does find the kill towards him. The Freiberg, he's ready. Should be able to finish one off. It's actually getting a little bit scary now. If they find that kill, they could be very comfortable indeed, but there's the final couple for Forest coming in. And you have to say, beneath ladder there, I thought Get Right's going to be better. He gets that first kill, nails it, had 2 more on his screen. Made it a little bit interesting for VP, but ultimately they negate the force buy.
And the running Tech 9 definitely still is a scary prospect in that situation, but you're right, I would have expected maybe a little more with that M4. I think with the new update, by the way, just to go back on this, we didn't touch on this last night either, but the new update with the whole tapping increase, I think it actually, yeah, the M4A1S is great. It always has been in that situation. I think it actually favors the A4 because it's increased it, and you can still spray with it fairly controlled, in a controllable fashion. So I think the A4 is actually pretty awesome right now.
Well, it looks like Exist agrees with you. He gets the first kill with that weapon. It's going to be Snacks and Neo dropping, and this is the pretty redundant round. These ones where you have absolutely nothing to play with. You have the P250s, no armor. That's just showing us you do have potential to find a couple of kills here, but that's about it. He picks up a UMP, and that should be round over, though. He does find a second. Exist and Disco Doppler are very low HP, so you never know. Something could come out of this. You never know, Matthew.
Pasha's going to come in late. UMP goes down. Get Right finds it. 3-0 NiP. And fairly convincing so far, but we're start to see now with guns coming up, and specific the AK-47s. Is Pasha going to try and bring out? Okay, good. I was going to say T-side op would be a little bit aggressive considering utility. But this is where we start to see, we talk about the windows going out, the skylights. We start to see how much practice the team really has on the map. And Virtus.Pro didn't really take full advantage of that in the major. In fact, the most impressive plays that we've seen have to go to the way of SK with Molotovs coming in through skylights on top of HUD.
I think it's them and potentially Liquid as well who are furthest ahead on this map. G2 do have a good approach, but you can still, there's some gaps in their game. We'll see what VP have been doing, like you said, at the major. They did look a little bit lackluster on this map, but we go into round number 4. First going round, of course, no orbs for either side here. You can see VP with a full array of AK-47s. Have got utility to work with as well, of course, and Forest areas watching back steps is hoping he can lock it down. That's quite a common position these days with the CTs. Instead of actually challenging towards outside about the AWP, you're playing that back steps area. You've got lots of different angles to hold. And this should be an outside take by the looks of things from VP, running a full default for now. The idea is see what kind of aggression is being presented to you from the CTs. You smoke off towards garage, main entrance, try and get a smoke on catwalk as well. Make your way to get some map control towards those back steps. Once you have it, that's very decent real estate. And then your options are try and challenge the CTs waiting for you there, or just take that vision away and go back towards upper.
Get right. Lobbing a nade a little bit early. Only not all the way across. Twinkie, Silo, whatever you want to call it. Whatever region you play
I like
in.
Silo.
Silo works. It's actually more effective. But I do think Twinkies are tasty. Get right thinks Neo's tasty. He's found him with a UMP, but it was a little bit early to throw the nade. Bialy hadn't come all the way over. He does now have the information there. He's also got the bomb. He's dropped the bomb.
I knew you were going there.
It had to be done. Bialy's going to find him in return, though. Eventually, he would run out of options and angles to cover off as they continue to encroach upon his position. And with a quick reload of the AK, Bialy will start to clear out Heaven. Again, this is one of those things, though. When you lose outer, it seems a lot more. The CTs are very aware that this new catwalk exists. They turn their attention to it. Rather than staying aggressive in the choke point, though, Exist has gone for a passive hold, and it works out because Bialy doesn't expect him to be in the open on the floor. He catches one, and Freiburg will close out the next kill onto Pasha.
Well, it's the get right UMP that steps up there. Very close range, doesn't challenge too much, waiting for them to come towards him, which is actually a great move with that weapon. He's very effective if it gets the first 2 kills, and that's that default absolutely down the toilet for VP at that point. They can't find that initial kill. Forced to go towards downstairs, and then you can see it didn't really work out for them too well. To be 4-0 in favor of the Ninjas, and now we have got another, I guess this is an eco. There's a little bit of a partial buy here. They've got 3 smokes. Tans has got body armor as well. I assume this will be straight towards outside sight. Try and get towards those back steps area, and actually this could be a little bit of a fake, you know. Bialy's throwing a smoke towards outside. His teammates have run back towards lobby, so the objective here purely just to get the bomb down by the looks of things. They're going to try and swarm the ramp player from Doppler, but he's going to be playing this smart. He knows they're on an eco. It's not worth giving an AK away. The position he's playing right now, you go for 1 kill as soon as it comes in. I was about to say you just fall back. At this point, he looks like he wants more. This is the opportunity now to fall down to lower and try and stay alive.
Forrest is able to come over and give him a hand, too. That's very smart. Forrest rotates back over. He looked like he was going to actually try and rotate towards Secret early in the underpass. It worked out the timing. Disco was able to call him back. He gets 2. 5-0 now on IP, and once again, we're seeing CT side domination. I would have thought, again, this is something I really think we could kind of focus in on more. It's just discussing the metagame of Nuke and the development of the map. It hasn't been played enough, but by now I still would have thought teams would have a little bit more to offer on the T sides.
I'd love to explore that properly and kind of analyze who's actually the furthest ahead in terms of their innovation with the map. I think there's so many options we haven't seen explored yet. I think that's something we could definitely look into and kind of present our own ideas as well as to what options there are. But here we go, then it's going to be Exist opening things up, takes down Taz. I didn't catch where that was. It's presumably towards lobby. Obviously the CTs, it's not one of the maps you can have hyper aggression. You can't really push for the initial kills, but towards Rampant, for example, you can catch terrorists out of position every now and then. It's going to be get right. Going to be tested once more, but Snacks has got the AWP this time. They're relying on him to try and find that first kill, and we'll see whether they're able to lock it down as they do slowly but surely. Run their default towards the outer side of the map and get right. Just looking for Incel here. Not giving too much away. Does spot Bialy, but he gets his head ripped off there. And now finally a man advantage for VP. It's going to be a 4-on-3 situation. Time is still in their favor. 1 minute remaining. Don't really have to commit to too much here. You're going to wait for the CTs to make mistakes right now. They don't have information. They don't have control of the upper bomb site right now. Bialy in towards Heaven. And he is going to be spotted by Freiburg, but his teammates are falling like flies.
Unfortunately so. Finally, VP with something to work with, but this time Forrest walks up. Snacks has no idea he's there. That'll give away information. They can try and turn their attention. Bomb gets thrown down out of Heaven as well. Just so that they can hold the position with Pasha. They don't have to give that up. Neo puts it down, and Forrest, 1 versus 2. Has to try and walk back in. In fact, gonna go ladder. So this is quite an interesting position for Pasha to play because he's not quite looking at this just yet. Quick flash out for Forrest, looks both directions, make sure he's not gonna get flanked out from anyone still sitting on Heaven, but having not peeked immediately after, it just means Pasha now knows 100% he's there and just holds the angle.
Yeah, it's a really nice crossfire. That position on top of the silo on the bottom side can be so strong. Obviously, we haven't seen that in the previous iteration. It's like one of those positions you don't really 100% think about. Like, it's like, I guess muscle memory from playing the original Nuke. You're kind of going up and expecting them to be on the floor. You can get up there safely, but can be very tricky to deal with there. So VP do find their first round, and it is with the assistance of that AWP as well. Forrest now, he's going for the same mentality. I'm assuming he'll take that up towards outside. We'll see whether he can find and challenge Snacks here. Boost coming in. This is a nice way. You can drop that initial smoke there and look over it, but it's Get Right bunny hopping across. He is spotted, so VP are going to be aware of his position right now. So the players, I guess, at this point, try and keep him there as long as possible, see whether he does decide to face. Oh, there it is. Was that the shot that it hit? Forrest does hit Bialy, but it's through the railings there, so he only gets him down to 36, but still knows he's done damage.
Get Right as well. In that garage, it's kind of, I think, a different style again to see two players playing it outer. We haven't seen that as much. We've seen someone watching Heaven for the wraparound play, but to have two full players out in the yard, Forrest could almost bait them in, and Get Right could have come out with a surprise. He's now rotated over, and I think would have been spotted by Bialy before he did go down to Forrest, but it's an interesting approach because we haven't really seen that at all. Maybe a player in Secret Stairs, but not quite the same way NiP's trying to utilize it, and it works out. Forrest again finds Snacks, missed timing as he gets up on top of Red Crate, trying to see over top of that new blue box towards CT, and exactly where Get Right's gone. Again, Disco seems to be holding his own, and he'll find 2 kills once more. Taz, the second of which to go down. It's all on Pasha, 1 versus 5. If there's anything you want to talk about, Henry, I think we've got a moment because this is just
This could be drawn out. Yeah, it's nice play from NiP. Like you said, it's quite rare to see these challenging in that fashion. Like obviously, you know the outside wall of smokes is coming. It's probably normally quite limited as to what you can do. But VP are going for quite a vanilla outside take. They're just trying to actually happily take these duels and see what's available for them and try and outplay their opponents in terms of aim. But Forrest, one of the best Counter-Strike players on the planet, still very hybrid in his stance. He can actually work an AWP, he can rifle to a world-class level as well. It's actually a really good overall package. And we'll see whether Patch can do anything with this. I don't think the options are there, to be honest. He's got 10 seconds remaining and 4 players to find. You can see Exist is trying to hunt. This could work out horribly for Pasha. He could go down after the time and lose all his cash, but luckily for him, I guess, he does get killed before that actually comes in.
In that regard, it is luckily for him. Problem is, though, VP, this reset, it's still haunting them as they're going to now go into a situation where they have to almost full save this. Okay, we see a Deagle coming out on Taz. He's the one that was in a position where he could. He was, I think, around 32 or 3,400 when he started buying there. Actually, okay, whatever, so 850, so there you go. Math.
Yeah, so the problem is on the T side, obviously, you win that first round, you think you've broken the duck, we've got that round on the board, then as soon as you lose the second one, you only get $1,400 coming in. Very tricky situation to be in. We do talk about this map still being heavily CT-sided, even though we speculated when we first saw it. We thought, okay, the T's got so many options now, you can get towards Heaven very easily. There's more options at back steps, but still hasn't really turned out to be that way. I still believe in my heart of hearts, Matthew, that one day it will be a T-sided map.
Do you want to know how I still have the R8 on? Because I just listed the Deagle price as the R8 price, because I was thinking about
did you actually say 850?
Yeah, okay. It's all right. We'll forget that happens. Right. I like the R8. I like the troll. It was a good show match we had, but Freiburg going to close them down outside. Bialy and Pasha. What?
I did say that. I got 35 kills in that map, so I think we know who the R8 master is.
Yeah. Well, I was keeping on with you until the overtime.
It's true.
And then I did nothing. And we lost.
7-1. VP now. Money's not fantastic. They are going to bring a buy to the table, but it's a weak one at that. You can see Snacks. Obviously, the AWP is a little bit further behind than his teammates. I guess there's a double-edged sword in that regard. If he keeps 1,300 in his bank, it means the option for the AWP going forward is still there, but he's going to be on the Tech 9 and armor, and there's 3 AK-47s to low for Bialy. At this point, you're just trying to work those aim duels once again, but this is the aggression I was talking about. There are some options here. This time it's the AWP, and that's actually a decent flashbang coming in from Neo. Can't land the initial shot. Does get the first kill in, but Disco Doppler here applies efficiently and brings it back to a 4-on-4, but on the other side of the map, it is VP getting towards the back steps area. And that's actually a really smart play. They know that's the position where Forrest like to play, but Freiburg just lighting them up here through the smoke. They thought it'd be completely clear there, but NiP, that I was about to say clever play, but Exist really didn't have to face that. They had
definitely didn't.
Lower bomb site. You've got time to actually listen as to what's going on. You haven't got any teammates with you, and now you've brought it down to a 2-on-2.
This is also one of the first rounds Virtus.Pro elected not to just play a pick strategy and a straight-up gunfight. They went for the wall of smokes at outer, and they forced a rotation over toward the ramp room immediately. But you're right, Exist did not need to recommit to that peak. They'd already won with a 2-for-1 trade, and he just gives it back to them. Now it's gotten worse because Bialy's elected to lurk back upper just to find out, to get more information, because look, last guy's alive, Disco. Where's Disco been playing? You can name it instantly. Ramp, we all know where he is. The rotation's there. He has to be at lower already. So they've got to explore this, and they've got the time to do it. They've got the manpower to do it on Virtus.Pro's side now.
Well, it's Disco Doplin, the mercenary for this game. Let's find out what are you made of, my man. As it is going to be the 2 versus 1. He's sat towards lower right now, pretty committed. There's only 30 seconds remaining. Anything he has working in his favor right now is the terrorists have no idea where he is. It's a very lurk-heavy map. You can actually hide in plenty of positions, but they will be opting towards the upper side, so that's pretty bad news for him. He'll have to come out towards the vents, and once a crossfire is set up and you have to find 2 players in the bomb as well, it's very unlikely you can actually do anything with this.
Jump on top of the silo, defuse through the floor.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
I think it's actually... where did he play? Oh, no, he planted beside the silo. I thought he actually planted... Okay, Taz, you heard him on the ladder, but still he gets out. Disco times it quite correctly in terms of trying to sell that fake, and now he's got a chance in this one-on-one. Molotov at the squeaky door, and has the chance to tap it out. You're right, but no smoke. It's going to be the flashes instead, and Bialy walked out and takes down. Yeah, I know. I thought I did too. You confused me, but it was the Molotov instead.
As soon as I saw him pull it out, I thought, well, got that wrong. But, you know, I'm going to blame this. I'm just got the feed. I haven't got my NPC, right? So normally I've got my nose on the screen. I'm getting all the info. Now I'm just kind of like laid back in the chair.
Your powers have been removed.
Yeah, and then some. Well, then it is going to be VP finding that's all important. Second round here. Once again, that reset potential is there. Did come down to quite a close situation, 1 versus 1. They're not racking up tons of cash here, but NiP, they're not exactly in tons of money either. You can see they've actually got 5 M4s and no AWPs available. So quite an even battle going into round number 10. 7-2 is the current scoreline. That War of Smokes we discussed before has been deployed by VP. This is a more traditional like Nuke playstyle. We saw this. This is why the reason the map actually got removed from the map originally mapped. The fact that every single terrorist team was doing the exact same strategy every round. There wasn't really a way to lock it down. They could get towards back steps every single time, and then it was just a bit of a brawl down towards the lower side. But here we go. It's going to be Forest. Like I said before, that's why it was such an intelligent call from VP to do that rush. Last time, they got the kill towards Forest on the ramp room, and then, you know, okay, this is where he plays every time. Get towards lower as quickly as you can, but here we go then. He's going to be tested once more.
Well, he's got the first shot through the doors, not successful. Tries to sell that he's gone into the bomb site and elects to re-peek instead. That allows Snacks to get the headshot onto him. But Freiburg's having quite a decent game, I have to say.
They've Molotov their own bomb. Okay.
Well, they've got 51 seconds.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea.
It's an interesting concept, yes. Maybe that's one way to make it blow up now. If you light it on fire, if you set the room on fire, the bomb will be dropped.
Yeah, that's the next update, I think.
I think so. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Freiburg, though, is, again, playing a decent game on Nuke, holding these stairwells well. That Molotov's a little bit more efficient because he's stuck in the corner. No way out of it. Neo's going to burn him alive. Bomb grabbed. So if the first Molotov on the bomb didn't work, the one on Freiburg certainly does. As Disco, coming around from lobby, trying to flank out upper, is now in the wrong position, as too is Get Right, as both of them sit on the upper position, upper site. No one rotating in just yet. And Virtus.Pro looking at potentially getting a 3rd round back-to-back situation for them as well, which is pretty substantial considering the reset came in at 5-1 and they could have had a huge problem. But Disco showing more flair, comes in and gets 2. Snacks the next to fall. He's definitely showing off that he's got the skill, and Get Right finds Neo as he looks for Disco instead. And suddenly it's NiP that will pull around instead.
Doplin is pumped. That was actually kind of sick, you know. Coming down to the vent, that's a really difficult situation for a CT to come into. Nails the first shot. There was a low HP player on the side, but finding those 2 kills when you've got the man of disadvantage as well, very impressive stuff. That safe plant coming from Neo as well, although they only had 10 seconds, they almost guaranteed the bomb. Now you can plant behind the silo. Looks like they're in a great position, but Doplin just completely stomps them there, and that's another round where VP won the previous, and now they've been fully reset. You can see that reflected on the money. This time it's not so bad as they actually got the plant down, so you get the extra $800, but still going to be a pretty much fully go here. 5 PT50s, and there's going to be a smoke and a flashbang. So you'd assume NiP almost running away with this one, guaranteed.
Interesting thing, potentially we can get a chance to talk about at halftime.
Go on.
In terms of, well, I'll bring it up. We're on a bit of an anti-eco situation for NiP. Bialy's going to try and work out toward that outer catwalk. Interesting position as well from Forest. We haven't seen anyone actually elect to play behind. I actually really like that.
Yeah, that's
behind
great.
that air conditioning vent, because look at that headshot potential through the 2 little ventilation things.
Yeah, there's a great decoy potential there as well. If you have a player facing from heaven and you're stuck behind there, as soon as they get the attention on upper, you can just face straight away and come in for the little refrag.
Yeah,
that's a really cool position, actually.
Well, this round's going to be over, so I'll make the point quickly. Look, we talked about it yesterday as well, about how NiP seems to always be the team on the outside in Sweden, how they've missed the chance. Early on, they were the team traveling around in CSGO. You know, Fnatic, LGB, back then, they were not really at as many tournaments, and they tend to play as 10, you know, in a server and pick up games. Kind of made them all friends, hence why these shuffles, I think, still exist with those teams. They're all familiar with each other. If NiP had done a roster change really early on, when those guys were still up and coming, none of them would have said no. They all would have taken that opportunity. But they've kind of lost that rapport now. The team that they can start, if they want to look to scout new players, if they have to make changes, is Epsilon. I actually think, like, Disco coming in and performing this way could you never know. I mean, there's lots of rumors about NiP, and you know, is a change inevitable at this point? This is not a bad situation for him to be showcasing himself like this, but as you say, it would be a sad tale for Epsilon. Pasha going to get right down finally, an opening for Virtus.Pro as Freiburg tries to get a little bit cheeky. That didn't really throw much damage the direction of Snacks.
I'm not sure how effective that is. That looked like he was spraying in down players. I'm not sure the X-ray might have confused us a little bit there, but I'm not sure how effective that could be with M4, but didn't seem to amount to too much apart from giving his
boost away. We need Anders to like 3 craft that.
Yeah, I literally have no idea how much damage that does. I haven't played the map enough. But definitely
who has
a pretty cool concept if it does that. Wallbang is effective. I like that.
I miss wallbangs, and it is Nuke. This is like the sentiment. Disco getting aggressive this time, so we've seen him be quite passive, smart on his rotations and winning out exchanges at ramp. This time he pushes up, gets information, calls that there was one at least in ramp, so Freiburg does the same outer to see if, okay, if they're in the lobby position right now, who's to say they're not at outer? If they're not out here, then it's pretty obvious they're going to be trying to split onto the A site. So Freiburg finds a kill coming out secret, and Disco finding another as he turns back.
He gets 3 kills that round. He's actually on 16 for 3 right now against the current E-League champions. This is Disco Doblin. We haven't really seen him play like the top tier CS ever before. It's always been like you said, like they're outside the top 20 till very recently. Playing at Epsilon has a lot of hype around him as that kind of up-and-coming star. We saw it at, I think it was at the Assembly we were at. Obviously, they didn't win the event, but they were always very exciting team to play with. Buckets of talent in that team. And it's really cool to see him like providing this sort of performance against a very, very top team. There we go.
That works. 1 bullet just to make the fire do the rest. As Get Right shuts down outer once more. This time doesn't have a support system in place, but he will rotate back toward Mini. And it's Forrest and Exist that find kills, and Forrest changing his position. It's kind of interesting from Forrest. He's been like this kind of like dynamic lurk almost on the CT side. He's playing multiple angles. As Exist is going to take down Bialy, and it's just on Pasha who falls immediately after. We've seen him try and rotate a lot of times too secret, but on these fast rounds, now Virtus.Pro thankfully have not been able to exploit it from his point of view. But he's trying to get to secret. It turns out that he just is able in a position where he can rotate based on information after that. I'm wondering if a faster play could actually catch him off in that sense.
We haven't seen too much depth from VP in terms of his actual gun rounds. To be fair, it's been that default towards outside every time, get towards back steps. And I don't want to say hope for the best, but in terms of like what do you see a lot of other teams doing? You've got fakes towards the outside side, you've got those set pieces on upper, like Molotoving every single position, then going in as a team. We haven't really seen anything too exciting. Once again, it's another default towards outside. Actually more, let's just walk out and see what happens here. And Get Right, very passive position, just looking for that 1 kill, get the intel. Here comes a few smokes from the terrorist, though. You've got to try and take away a bit more of his vision, but Flashbang is decent. That will buy them some time as they cross over towards the garage area. I don't think they've made it towards back steps just yet, but Get Right playing a very disciplined game here. Doesn't want to give his kill away for free.
He's waiting at the catwalk position to peek, but inside the smoke he finds Pasha. That allows Taz up close and personal to make the immediate trade. I think this falls away on Heaven. Taz going to jump up and try and take that position away from them. And he'll go with his teammate Neo. Now the question is, does Taz just stay down below, or is he going to flash in case it's me? Or nothing? It looked like he was setting up to flash him in. Like, what's the point of Neo trying to come in that direction? Or sorry, Taz coming in that direction is Neo goes down, Snacks falls to Exist. That's 2 kills, and Taz still hasn't acted upon this position at all to try and take advantage of it. They had an execution in mind, and they go with 2 one-on-one peeks when 3 players were there. Finally, Taz will take down Freiburg. But it's still a desperate situation for them to be in, as Taz has 2 HP. Bialy's made a shot from Mini toward the low HP of Exist, who eventually he will find looking the wrong direction. And maybe finally now they can make something work, but look where the bomb is. And it's not like Taz can jump down quickly.
This is great positioning from Doblin. It's not one of the ones you're going to check, and Taz thinks he has done it. But, he's just overlooking him as well. He's not going to check this in a million years. He's actually going to walk straight in front of him. Down he goes. That's very good awareness from Doblin, obviously knowing he has a great control of that sort of situation. Knows that's a position where he has a huge advantage in terms of where that bomb's down. So it's going to be the 2 versus 1. That was 5 seconds. Round's over. I think this point, Bialy, okay, does he not want to win? I mean, save, like, okay.
Well, it's 2 seconds as well, and
that's
15
what I mean.
HP.
So, like, at this point, you can't even win the round. Like, that's kind of nuts. He does manage to get away with it. I guess it's going to be close. Does survive, and we go into round number 15. Not really a huge amount of money available. Had Bialy died after that timer, that'd have been so detrimental. He'd literally have had 0, and it would have been like a PG50 for the next round. But it's going to be round number 15, 12-2 right now, Matt. I have to say, we did speculate whether VP had been working on this map and whether they're going to bring something to the table. We do talk about the online performances quite a lot. It's got a heavy subject on the analyst desk, and it's hard to take away what kind of form they're in when we watch them in online games. As you know, when they go to a LAN, they're always going to be like 100% better for some reason. There's something about them.
It's absolutely true. But just the basic principle to the map they're not executing. I'm not convinced.
Yeah,
like,
well,
they say they're confident on this, but it's just twice now, one of them at a major against SK, that I'm not convinced.
Yeah, I agree. They just don't seem to have anything to fall back onto when the defaults aren't working for them.
You can still do it. Remember we had that debate at
Oh,
Assembly?
did you like press E on
Yeah,
it?
you can still close them.
Okay, I thought they took that out, but there it is. All right.
It's because the ones in cash you can't, even though they went
It's
with
the
the
same
new
model.
vent model.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people got confused by that, but yeah, you can still close them. So Freiburg, either way, going to take down Snacks. It's Neo and Pasha left alive. Well, not so much. Freiburg's going to find Neo as well. Again, another efficient game for him. He sits second only to Disco Doppelin right now in terms of frag distribution for NiP as Get Right closes Pasha. It's going to go 13-2 at half. 12-3 we say on Nuke, the old Nuke. You might have a chance. 13-2, that's a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Well, that's a pretty one-sided affair, and it's going to be 13-2 in favor of the Ninjas there. Doppelin with a great performance. We kind of speculated whether they'd be able to perform without pitting the lineup there, but the question was answered, and he was actually the MVP for me. So,
Well,
pretty
it's
impressive.
just the first half.
No, I mean MVP at that half,
Yes,
of course.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Let's take a break and see if he can do it again in the second half, Henry.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone. Halftime number 2, game number 1 between Virtus.Pro and NiP. And while Cuban and Threat are crying in the corner, we're having a great time casting a one-sided match.
Is it a great time?
I'm having an all right time.
It was all right. Nuke's always an interesting one. We never know what you're going to get. But for me, VP didn't really show up in terms of the tactical game. Running defaults every single time, didn't have anything to fall back onto, and I think that's what cost them that half.
And I'm not even convinced by their default, to be fair.
Yeah, like they do obviously have the outside smokes, but they were most of the time just actually going out together, hoping Snacks or Bialy could find that first kill, which wasn't really coming. It was Get Right who was just holding very defensively and actually making them fully commit to outside before he showed himself. He's always good for 1 or 2 kills. Forest, dynamic, ran for him, outside, back steps, and it's just all over the place and locking them down with the AWP especially. But VP, they need to win this pistol. You can't win this game without it. So there's definitely stranger things have happened. You can come back on a map like Nuke when it is very CT-sided. If you do win the pistol, get the momentum built up, who knows? There's no reason why they can't do the exact same treatment in reverse. We'll see what happens here. It's going to be the pistol round. Of course, the side swap over will be VP on the CT side now. And we'll see what kind of pistol they bring to the table here. For NiP, not very much pressure here. You can afford to be a little bit audacious, do something a little bit strange, maybe just a straight up upper rush here, try and catch them out if they're going for some sort of particular setup. But I think this will be slightly more tactical, judging by the purchases of the Ninjas here. You can see Freiburg, he's got the Molotov and exists with a smoke and 2 flashbangs here. So for me, that probably suggests maybe some sort of upper play, smoking towards the connector, smoking towards the main entrance, for example, and Molotoving heaven as you go up. And we'll see whether that comes in. That would be my guess, judging by this buy.
Get Right's going to start it off at outer as well. Tap away with that P250. but Snacks with the USBS shows off why it is still supreme at long-range battles and pistol rounds. Quick headshot coming out from the silenced weapon.
Molotov at Heaven. Henry's done it again.
Henry, you have nailed it. Bialy, he's going to go for the shot. Does manage to land it on 4. Still in this Heaven position, using that new catwalk cross, like beam, I guess what we call that, to give himself some safety and protection. That allows his teammates to rotate over. Pash on Snacks. They'll get the final kills. We call that yellow, I guess. Yellow beam.
Yeah, why not? That works. Well, then it was like a nice idea from NiP, but he saw VP getting a little aggressive. We normally say like if you can feel the terrorists are doing like a very set piece sort of play, and you want to try and find that first kill. Like you said, the USP is always going to have the advantages over any sort of terrorist pistol available. In those pistol rounds, it's Neo gets the first kill, and a VP do get a very important CT pistol. Obviously, in this situation, it means the world to them. If they have any chance of winning this map, this is the first step. I don't think we'll see a full force buy from the Ninjas. They don't need to. Obviously, most teams, you don't get the bomb down the pistol. You would go for the force in a second, but this scenario doesn't call for it. You've got such a heavy lead. Let's not open the door of opportunity to give them too much away here and just limit yourself in terms of money.
It's true. I mean, and we know that a heavy lead can easily evaporate on a map like Nuke.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Snacks firing some shots out toward Freiburg. Doesn't connect on the immediately. Does take down Exist. It's his second kill at Outer, and against these pistols, they aren't going to be able to do too much. Tap away as they might at Snacks instead. Now, to find a third on the Freiburg. He knows one's gone by, and somewhere down into the secret stairwell. But they can clean that up, and Get Right goes back toward lobby. Tech 9. 1 versus 5.
Unbelieving.
You're a risky man.
Well, it's going to be Get Right getting himself into a position that it's going to probably be good for 1 or 2 kills there. Oh, he does get the headshot in. Can he finish it off? He actually does. Take some Pasha. I missed what weapon he had with you. I sounded like an M4, but we'll see if we can recover anything here. Not going to happen as Bialy does take him down. Good recovery, but Get Right does get a 1 kill, I guess. We'll have a look at the money for the terrorists here. There's not, like I said before, the same reasons. You don't need to force buy here. There's no pressure being applied as of yet. Allow VP to win that pistol. They can go 3-0. That's absolutely fine. Let's make sure we have nice, healthy money going into that first round. We can do the exact execution or default we want to and just win the game in that manner. You can see VP. They need to be careful here. Obviously, it's not really worth taking the risk next round having that bonus round. I don't think you've got enough to play with here. I'd say take the risk, get rid of the SMGs if you have a nice clear one this time. Get rid of the MP9 and the UMP, and let's make sure we actually just run over these guys. And a decent nade coming in. Doesn't actually do any damage. Looked like it was going to be a bit of a homing missile, but pretty much redundant round here. And NiP don't have much to work with, apart from a few upgraded pistols. Snacks gets the first headshot, and it gives the game up for NiP. And now just a matter of a shooting gallery. Can he finish him off?
Taz will come out to support his teammate. SMG, though, UMP for him. Not quite the same distance advantage, so Peaks realizes they're not as close as he would have liked, goes back to cover off Hut instead, and they actually get a bomb plant out of this as Freiburg goes down late. That's all on a play from him as they distract and cause rotations out, or he gets down in and through the vents to get the plant, so Taz will get defuse.
Well, there is the 3-0, but this is the round that really counts now. VP can find his first gun round. He'll set himself up for a pretty interesting campaign in terms of that comeback being a possibility. So this is what I was interested to see. Surely going to upgrade these SMGs. You can see Neo, he had like $7,000. So yeah, he's going to get the AWP, and it looks like Taz will keep the UMP. That's not the craziest move. We know the UMP can be a very viable weapon in these gun rounds in terms of what you actually can do with the close range situations, the armor penetration it has. So getting with the MP9 totally makes sense, but the UMP, that's still completely fine. And we'll go into round number 4 here. First gun round, of course, and it looks like NiP will be going for some sort of smoke outside execution. Like I said, you don't have to commit to the outside play. You can just do the smokes, take the vision away, have one player go towards secret, and then allow him to meet your teammates as they split towards ramp. That's definitely an interesting concept. But there's the full wall of smokes, and it's up to VP now to see how they react to it, try and work out what the call is.
Taz playing a tight angle as well. On to Hut, works out, they walk immediately in headshots. Presented, he gets 2 of them. Well, only 1 actually. Get Right's body shot, whatever, it's fine. He kills them, that's all that matters. Freiburg gets back into Taz though, and we have a small opening. Bialy gets caught up on the ladder. He actually doesn't make that very gracefully at all. He could have been on the floor and boots on the ground before he even shot through the window, and instead, it's going to be Disco that gets bombed down, turns back, and they can cover off Mini. Bialy elects not even to go back up that ladder. He rotates around to secret stairs late, catches Forrest, snacks in. Disco down immediately to the AWP. Nade in, they know exactly where Freiburg is, but 62 HP. Freiburg takes Snacks, it's a 1 versus 1 against Bialy, low on HP as he is! And he sprays in despite his blindness. He'll find the kill, and it's going to go 14 rounds for NiP.
Big round from Freiburg, that's huge. And he thought like he done himself in though, and the fact he had the flashbang comes towards main, he decided not to face away from it. He thought Bialy would go go for the old classic face before it pops, but somehow gets away with it. 3 versus 1. Freiburg stepping up. It's been a while, I think I've said that, Matt. Freiburg are those big, important rounds. And we'll see whether that's going to be the round that finishes things off here. It's going to be 14-5. And there is still money available for VP after 3 pretty clean rounds in the first. But we'll see what this AWP on Snacks can do here. Smokes once again towards the outside area. No AWPs for NiP. And it's going to be Smokes going down once again. Very similar approach, but this time they're actually committing towards outside. They did the Smokes last time and went towards upper. That's just to pull CTs away from Rampant, for example. Maybe get someone rotating to vents. And then you go back towards up. That's the kind of tactics we wanted to see from VP, but there wasn't really that much depth to them. But Snacks, he does find the first kill. Takes down Forest towards Side.
Exist. Slowly getting closer and closer as he walks down into the secret position to where Bialy is residing inside of the vents, but still has a bit of ground to cover before you can find him there. Disco with him. 2 rounds to go for NiP. And guns drawn either side. Down a man though they might be, they've got some ground. Get Right's going to watch to make sure no one pushes through and gets information by rotating in through the lobby and pincering them in an outside maneuver as Exist will go for the entry. But Bialy, yes, okay, quick smoke out the door. That's not uncommon to go for a fast plant. He almost had a chance to shut that down. He just missed the window where Freiburg was exposed, and instead, rather than give his position away, I almost think he should have timed that to just go in the smoke and instantly defuse. Like, they could have been on this already. Fortunately, they're going to find the kills either way. Taz will get at least one Exist. He's going to try and draw this out as long as he can. Another smoke goes into the bomb position, and it's just Exist that remains 1 versus 3. Silo playing against him in this position. Bialy gets the kill back. I mean, I guess, look, all right, that's a bit of a risk. That might be a little bit too cheeky, but he, if he wanted to, could have just jumped into that smoke and instantly defused. I don't think they would have considered it.
But it's just at that point, he's out of the running. Basically, like, taking a man out of the situation. NiP know it's probably one of those plays. They've practiced that a lot of times before. They know exactly where the bomb is, where to spray. It's definitely an interesting idea to, like, draw terrorist players out and work out where they are. But in terms of winning the round, I think that was probably there. Plenty of time left. CT's rotating in. Make sure you've got power and numbers going to those situations. That works out for them. And it's going to be a full reset here for the Swedish side. It's going to be 14-6, still in their favour hugely, but not really much to work with this round. They're going to have a couple of Desert Eagles and some E250s. That's about it. They've got 3 smokes. I would suggest that means back towards outside, try and get back steps and force a play towards that lower bomb site. We'll see whether that's the idea behind it. But could do a drop-down vents tactic as well. Smoke in front of the vent, smoke towards main entrance, in front of the hut. See if you can just get the bomb down there in a cheeky manner, but it'll be very difficult to plant still, considering Pasha could rotate to lower so quickly. Okay, Forest, where's this going?
It should land, yeah, front secret. So wall of smokes.
It's a fake, I'm assuming.
Well, they're going back in through lobby. They've only sent
It's
one in
the
that
ramp
position.
play I was discussing before. So he sent 1 player towards outside, take the attention away. If he doesn't get detected and it looks like the ramp play, he comes in as the CT's supposed to be falling back from the terrorist in the ramp room, and he can kind of get that free kill. That's the idea at least, but it's not really going to be too effective against his pistols. Easy spray down the road to think of Pasha. Gets the first 2, bombs dropped as well. The game is up, looking for 4, and nails it as well, just going to be Forest remaining. This is exactly what I was talking about. So on a gun round, this is a tactic that was run all the time in the original iteration of Nuke. You actually get this 1 player, he's the lurker. You get all the attention towards that ramp room. You're going to hit CT's rotating. You've already done your fake outside with the smokes. And he does find 1 kill for Glock.
Well, denies the ace.
Yeah, that's something. But 4 on 1. Surely it's going to be dead now. Of course he is. Bialy takes him down, and it's going to be 14-8 now. 14-7. I thought I was going to take over. Double up setup for the CTs. Money's not fantastic for the Ninjas. I'd say a partial buy wouldn't be the craziest idea in the world. I'm going to be going for it, though. I was going to say, like, obviously they had money to buy, but considering the scoreline and finishing in terms of finishing this game off, 2 Galils and 3 AKs, limited in utility, it's wouldn't be nuts to go for Tech 9s and armor, try to get the bomb down and have full orbs next round and full utility. Just an idea.
Well, now they've got the skylights out. Options aplenty for NiP from the outer position as Pasha's still trying to use this box to catch anyone in through the radio room.
I like this double orb setup. It's like a double-edged sword, of course. Like, you can have 3 players towards upper with the rifles, and you have outside covered with an AWP, and you have some ramp covered with an AWP as well. But these outside executions, that's when it gets tricky, because then the AWPs can't rotate back into it. It's very difficult to get back into the bomb site, and you'll be shown exactly why this is a problem right now. You've got to come out towards heaven, you got to push through the smoke, you got to push through the flashbangs, and it's very difficult to find any kills. All the terrorists will be back in towards lobby in the vent. They won't be giving anything away. So this is a horrible situation for VP now.
Pasha comes up the ladder and immediately elects to throw out an nade. He gets caught out by Disco. Get Right, he finds Neo. 1 versus 5. 4 for Snacks as he takes down Freiburg. And NiP are going to find themselves on map point, our first map point. Remember, they are best of one, so every map counts. You can't tie a series by playing the double-header system, but it is another map coming up between the two immediately after.
Well, that's a very nice execution from NiP there. You can see, like, it's just as I was describing why those other players are so effective against the double orb setup, it gets illustrated for me in quite a perfect manner. There's the fact as soon as you lose that first pick, the retake becomes so difficult at that point. Your 3 rifles and upper bombers need to be on point. They need to be finding the first kills and buying time at least. If you lose that first kill, NiP get towards up at the round's pretty much over, but unfortunately for VP, they don't even have an option to save here. It's map point now and game point, as for the reasons you just described. And it's going to be obviously the force buy coming in from VP. Can't afford to lose a single round, and he's got a max 7 at CZ. There's an open hand of snacks and 2 M4s available, but Taz hunting for something here. He's only got the pistol.
Neo in the lobby, pushing out, catching them off entirely. 2 players to shuffle back out. He might get more out of this. He actually does. Disco will finally avenge, but Taz takes the opportunity to walk through the doorway as they're distracted, and suddenly VP find themselves in a 4 versus 2. Neo, the only one going down despite getting 2 kills early on exists. Gonna try and come back up late from vents. Bailey has that covered off quite comfortably, I would say, but they have to go toward the bomb. That's the objective out of all of this, because it's down inside of the doorway at Squeaky. And this is a reset coming in for NiP. So we're not done just yet.
At this point, decided to say save the orb, but oh, actually, I didn't see this position. Exist could make something out of this. Every kill he finds, at least, is going to be detrimental for the CTs, of course. Limit their money going to the next round. He does spot the barrel. Not Bialy on his silencer, but yeah, there we go. Forrest will be saving. Exist is just hoping someone comes to check out the vents and just falls into his crosshair there. It's almost a guaranteed kill. The CT's not prepared for it. Bomb down towards Squeaky. There's no real reason for him to go to the vents hunting at this point. They need to keep their money strong going forward. And there's going to be 14 seconds remaining, 4 on 2, and NiP will be saving their weapons. And Forrest in towards T-Spawn, a very safe place to be with that orb. I think this is the right call. Like I said, you don't need to give too much away here. You don't need to take these risks of going into these 4 on 2 situations. You've got map point already, and indeed match point. And it's going to be them both surviving here. So we'll have a look at the cash going to the next round. We'll see. Get right, he's got enough to get an AK and armor and a few nades as well. Teammates, Forrest could drop a Galil. So I think that's probably what's going to be going down here. We'll see how that balances out. Freiberg expecting his drop. Oh, he's just gone for the Deagle. Okay, so he didn't even have enough to balance the books in that manner, but it is the force bite. There's the Eagle. M4, 2 AKs. Forrest, of course, with the AWP. We do normally see Pitt taking that terrorist side role with the AWP and Forrest on the CT side, but Pitt's not here, so, you know, he'll go on both sides. That's fine.
Taz again going to play this same lineup. It's a pretty cheeky angle. I mean, that's tough to shoot through that triangle when you come out. You can't even see his feet. You have to wait until you're pretty much fully exposed. So utility entry potentially to stifle it, but Get Right gets caught by Snacks, another early man pick off for VP. However, this time it's an equalizing kill, excuse me, as they go to 4 versus 4. Forrest caught out. Pasha again, aggressive toward radio, this time not going all the way in toward library as Neo elected to do last round. It's just to sit back and wait. Okay. Disco, though, this guy's so aggressive, and it's the wild card factor. I don't think VP's quite prepared for that, because NiP's not really known for pushing through smokes in that regard. As Freiberg will get Taz, suddenly he's giving them a real chance. He's going to find Bialy as well as he walks in. It could be the map over and done with on the back of a great play from Disco to Upland, and suddenly bomb going down. It's Snacks that has to clutch out 1 versus 3. AWP in hand to try and do so as well, which is not viable for a retake. But he's going to have to utilize it to the best of his abilities, and he does have a decent amount of them, but it exists to catch him on the drop, and it will go the way of NiP.
Yeah, so after a 13-2 deficit, VP doing what they can in the second half. They win the pistol, they win the first few gun rounds, but it's NiP. Once they got to map points, you kind of felt like that was it at that point. There was too much of a mountain for the Polish side to recover from. And there it is. Final score is 16-8, and I feel like that was always going to be that kind of result. But they won the pistol, a window of opportunity, but ultimately that's never really going to amount to too much. Nice tactical depth from NiP on the T side, especially. We saw they've got the executions, even with a stand-in. They've got those upper plays, all the Molotovs, they've got the outside fakes. That's what we want to see from a top team. Someone who doesn't, you can't rely on nukes every single round on Nuke. What did I say? Defaults every single round on Nuke. And that's just not going to work. It's one of those maps you do need to have some sort of fake sort of play out there. Otherwise, you're doing those outside smokes every single time, trying to go towards secret. It's very easy to adapt to what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah, and again, from Virtus.Pro's perspective, sure, okay, lots of things can be brought to the table in this discussion. They're back in Pro League, first and foremost, whether or not the whole ordeal was something you're favorable of or not. Regardless, it's online CS, granted, but it's another game on Nuke where they looked lost. I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, it's online CS, you're a little sluggish, maybe your timings are off, but it's another thing when your entire, methodology to a map is way off, I think, in my opinion.
Well, why don't we let the boys at the desk break it down and see what they thought. Alex, take it away.
Thanks very much, you handsome duo. For now, though, we do have to address the VP performance on Nuke. They've already started, and we're going to continue that discussion here on the desk. We saw what happened at ESL 1 Cologne. It comes in again, and the words there were perfect. They looked lost, Yenko. NiP came with an evident game plan, not the same for the Poles.
I think it's pretty evident because both teams lost their pistol rounds on the T side, so that's where it gets tough for you, right? You actually have to grind out those gun rounds when the cities also have a strong economy, most likely. So you could see that at times, yes, VP was going for some default plays, going towards yard, which is pretty straightforward on Nuke, similar to the old Nuke playstyle. But the NiP players were just able to pick them off there, get right, finding those kills through the smokes early on, even with the UMP. Well, when we switched to the second half, you could see that NiP, as Henry just mentioned, have some set pieces there. You can see that they're prepared, probably just told Disco Doppeln what his role needs to be in that particular execute, and yes, along with some great individual play, mostly from Freiburg, who had a really good performance here. They were able to take the necessary rounds. And Doppeln, you have to address him, right, Mitch? I mean, he had a pretty free performance. He just kind of roamed around and put a sterling performance versus Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, I think in some of the cases, especially on the CT side, he was in a position where he could power frag to a degree, like being the first guy in ramp room. He saw him get 2, he dropped back, Forrest comes in, gets himself 3 as well. But in general, I thought, we've seen time and time again, we always scrutinise teams when they go to the T side with a stand-in. How can they execute with this player? Are they going to leave him as a loose end, or is he going to conform, or does he know what the play is there as well? But I don't think anyone can really argue with his performance there. He's been called an up-and-comer in the Swedish scene. He's obviously performed very, very well on Epsilon to date as well, and he's looking a bit like a hot prospect. And NiP's setups on the T side, there's nothing new, right, Yenko? Was there something that you hadn't seen before? I mean, we've been begging to see someone take Nuke by the scruff of its neck. I mean, it's cool to see that they had that upper execute, because most teams are always going for yard and trying to go to the lower bomb site. And I mean, it gets pretty predictable at this point, right? Even though it's hard to take the upper bomb site, so many teams are focusing on outside that it actually, right now it does make sense. And I think the most obvious thing is you see that NiP played Nuke before as well, while VP, as I said, wasn't really ever, wasn't one of their favorite maps, so to speak. They kind of experimented with it here and there, but I think that NiP is just the better team on Nuke. Just played out as expected. I think it's going to be the kind of bottom line for that one. It will be NiP picking up the first map, Nuke. We have one more in store, and it will be Overpass. I'm intrigued to see how that plays out. Can VP bounce back? Was this going to be an easy 2-0 start for the Ninjas in Pajamas? Find out how that did play out on the very app I'm about to tell you about. It's called the Score Esports application. I was trying to think of a special way to say it. I'm not going to. It's news, articles, statistics, the whole shebang in one place and on your smartphone. You grab that, we'll take a break. And when we do come back, we have one more map to look forward to. Overpass between NiP and VP. Don't go anywhere.